Hi everybody, I'm Beebs Kelley. Welcome back to another video. So funny story, I filmed this whole chatty sort of makeup tutorial. I answer a handful of questions, I do a makeup look, and I kind of go through how I achieve that eye makeup look. And then I forgot to film anything to put at the beginning to be like, hello. So this is a different day than that, but regardless, today's video, I am, like I said, doing a little bit of a tutorial on eye makeup as per requested. And I also answer a couple of your guys' most frequently asked questions, like what is the name Beebs? What even is that? And also how I got into doing fashion editions and what my background in that department is exactly that led me to do fashion editions. So that's part of the chat today, and let's get into it. So before I get started on my eyes, I'm gonna put a little bit of powder on because I'm filming. I don't do this for day to day ever because, you know, powder on top, I mean, it's not the worst thing, but powder on top of like creams and stuff, it's not the best. It can make you look really makeup-y, but because I'm filming, I need to mattify. So I use this mattifying powder from Neutrogena. It works really well. It feels light and it doesn't look too cakey. I quite like it. It's cheap too, which is nice. So I'm just applying a little bit of that so I don't look super shiny while filming this. So I've been getting asked a lot for a tutorial on eye makeup, and not to like sound full of myself, I'm not, trust me, I'm not like a professional, but I have always had a good knack for eye makeup, a good steady hand for eye makeup. Like I don't get shaky when I'm doing my eyeliner or things like that, and I'm able to hold my eye still. Like I know sometimes when we're doing our eye makeup, our eyes like flickering or fluttering, and I'm lucky in that I can have a really steady hand, and I think that's really all it comes down to, is it helps my eye makeup look clean, I think. And so I've always had people, even in my teenage years or even as a preteen when I first started doing makeup, ask me about my eye makeup. And so I think it's just I have a good steady hand. And I also try not to overdo it. Like sometimes I have fun and get crazy with wild eye makeup looks or something really grungy, but for the most part I keep it relatively simple. And honestly, that's thanks to my parents. I'll explain. But because so many people have been asking for eye makeup tutorials, and that's the whole point of starting this second channel, is to be able to do more of those types of videos, I thought it would be a perfect real first video, besides my little announcement, to do a little bit of a chatty makeup video and answer some of your guys' questions and just chat and focus on eye makeup. So I already have my like face makeup on, my base. And I'm just doing a little bit of lip to put a little color on the face because I look a little pale and pasty at the moment. And this is Aveda's Rose Jicama lipstick. It's just a really nice light pink color that I just really like. I find it quite comfortable, and I like the texture of it. It's a little bit more dry, which sometimes I find that to be more comfortable with lipstick. It doesn't feel like it's like slipping around all over the place or getting messy. It feels like it's gonna stay put, I guess, is maybe why I like it. But because it is a little bit more dry, I tend to use a brush to blend it around and kind of incorporate it, I guess, in a way with the lip liner and kind of create a nice blend and make sure it fills in really nicely along my lip. But I really like these little metal, I think it's aluminum lipstick containers from Aveda. I think that's pleasing packaging. And the Rose Jicama shade 13 is my favorite that I've had from Aveda so far. It doesn't have any sparkle in it. For some reason, I really don't care for sparkle in my lipstick. Part of that may be because my lips are not like super small. I don't have like super plump lips. I've never had filler or anything like that. But I don't particularly like my lips being the focal point of my makeup look. I'd rather that be my eyes. Just my personal preference. Anyway, I'm using this Colourpop Nude Mood palette. It's been used. As you can see, I even have one shade completely missing. But it's really just a warm toned browns and nude browns. That's really warm toned is really all that it is. So you could use any palette that has warm nude tones. And I like to start just right here at my brow bone and then work down to help the whole thing blend nicer. And then I go in with my crease and other things. And I've been lately liking to skip the shimmer, so I'm going to do that today. For so long, shimmer has been where it's at, to put a little shimmer on the lid. But I don't know what it is lately. I've just been feeling like no shimmer is the way to go. Anyway, back to what I was saying with makeup. The less is more theory that I tend to try to go for with makeup is really all to do with the way my parents introduced me to makeup, because when I first started wanting to wear makeup, it was because my older sister, who's quite a bit older than me, well, both of them had already been wearing makeup. But when my sister, who lived with us, started wearing makeup, I was like, I want to wear makeup too. But I was several years younger than her. And so my mom, I remember telling me that my dad would only allow it if I proved that I wouldn't look like a clown and could do a good job and have it be subtle and nice looking. And if I could prove it at home, I might be allowed to wear it out of the house. And that was genius. In retrospect, I think that was the just smartest way to approach the subject with a young lady, a preteen who wants to do makeup, to say, well, show me how you want to wear it and prove to me that you know how to wear it and not look like a freak, and then you could be allowed. So I practiced a lot, and I looked at like YouTube videos and tutorials and interviews with makeup artists and practiced so much and tried to like recreate makeup looks on actresses and that actresses had worn. And oftentimes, you know, they were not wearing super heavy eye makeup or anything like that. And so I think it worked out really well. I wasn't, when you look objectively, you're not seeing a ton of heavy eye makeup all the time. You know, maybe a little bit here and there and a smoky eye some of the time, of course, but it's not super heavy usually. And that really, really helped in terms of realizing that less is more, and that got me approval for wearing makeup. Of course, like I said, I do have fun and do more intense eye makeup looks some of the time. Less now than I used to, just because I honestly don't think it looks as good on me anymore having really dramatic eye makeup. As with all things, it does take practice, and all that time spent practicing, I think, paid off. As far as like shades and colors and all of those sorts of things, it really doesn't matter what palette you use, so long as it goes with your coloring. And so if you have, for example, blue eyes, warm toned browns are oftentimes really, really nice and complimentary and make your eyes pop. Cool toned browns will still look nice, but they won't make your blue, the blue of your eyes, pop quite as much as warm tone, because blue and like orangey colors are opposite on the color wheel. If you have greenish eyes, you might want to try plums, because purple is opposite green on the color wheel, and so on. So it's important to make sure that you don't pick too much up on your brush at once. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on how pigmented your shadow is, but I just dab into the shadow, and then here I'm just kind of pressing the color down on those outer corners in a little bit of a C shape, but mostly on the outer corner of the eye, just kind of pressing the color down onto the lid. Once you've gotten the color in the spot that you want it. From there, it's all about blending. So here I'm just doing gentle sweeps from that outermost corner inwards so that it blends and has a bit of a gradient towards the inner corner as we go towards the center of the eye. And I'm also sweeping it up a little bit more towards the crease and creating that real contoured shape around the outer edge of the eye. So just first lay down the color and then blend it towards the area where you want the color to diffuse. You don't want to start sweeping outwards too awful much here because that'll blow the color too far out around the outside of where you want it. You know what I mean? It'll head towards your temple and you don't want it out that way. You don't want to have to clean up that corner. So let that sort of be a border along the outer corner of the eye and sweep it inwards. Here, once again, I'm patting down the color. So I'm putting the color in the spot where I want it to be with a patting motion and then sweeping with light pressure. I've found the patting to apply the color where you want it most pigmented and then light, gentle sweeping with light pressure to be the best and most effective way to blend. And then just take your time. Blending takes a lot of time. You really have to slow down and blend carefully. So for this section, what I have done is taken this sort of angled brush that's round and has a bit of a tip, and it's just the perfect shape to stick into the corner of the eyelid and just really kind of get this contoured shape. You kind of want to imagine it as like a C shape around the outer corner of your eye. Apply it along the lid and then up into the crease just a little bit and let it kind of fade out as you go. And I just use really, really gentle pressure with my brush and very small amounts of color at a time and build it up. And then I kind of go over it at the end with the crease color that I used, which was just a very simple sweep across the crease of something not too dark. And I kind of go back over it with that at the end to kind of make sure everything has blended itself really, really nicely and looks really smooth. Today I just want a matte look, so I'm going to take a really light color along the inner corner and just kind of dab it in. As I'm blending here, I'm just focusing on light pressure and big sweeping motions. The lighter the pressure, the better of a blend you're going to get. Sweeping from the inner corner up and out. And that's really it for the eyes today. I want this to be simple, quick, easy. I need to get to filming for the other channel. And so that's all I'm going to do for eyeshadow today. I'm going to take a little teeny tiny brush. It's so teeny tiny into this darkest color and just add a little bit more on my outer corner here instead of eyeliner. On the lower lash line, a little bit of eyeshadow is so much more polished looking, I feel, less harsh than eyeliner on the lower lash line. I haven't been doing eyeliner on my lower lash line unless it's on the waterline, like so kind of almost inside, for a while. And I like it. I like it this way. So I'm just going to kind of tidy that up underneath and then move on to eyeliner. That's pretty much it for the eyes. And I'm just going to finish them now. But that's the placement for the eyeshadow. And I just think it's super easy and fast. So I have been getting a lot of questions, again, about my name. Beebs Kelley is very close to my real name. Is in a way my real name. Beebs is a nickname. When I was a little kid, my nickname was Boo or Boo Boo. And it just kind of evolved when I was in high school. People started calling me Beebs and it really stuck. So that's where Beebs comes from. A lot of people ask about that and I have answered the question before, but I feel like it's been a long time since I answered, so that's where it comes from. This eyeliner I want to be through the waterline and across the upper lash line. This helps hide the false lashes and gives a little bit more definition with just a very subtle wing. I've also gotten a lot of questions lately about fashion editions and like whether or not I have been to fashion school or how I got, interested in fashion editions or where I got styling knowledge from. Pretty much just self-taught. I wanted to go to fashion design school. I was obsessed with Project Runway when I was a kid. I loved it. I guess maybe I wasn't obsessed, but I really, really liked it. And I would sketch my own designs for like the challenges. I would come up with what I would have done. I would sketch it out and really think about how I would do each challenge if I were on the show. And I have always enjoyed sketching clothing designs and thinking about pieces and wardrobe and styling and whatnot is something I've always noticed and paid attention to and liked. Even as a little kid, I think I was 3 years old, I would notice people's shoes and let them know whether they had ugly shoes or pretty shoes. And so it's just something I've always had a natural interest in and enjoyed and thought about like my whole life, basically. But my parents, my family encouraged me to choose a more academic sort of career. And so initially I went to university for journalism, potentially broadcast journalism. But I never finished getting my degree because life. The majority of what I know about styling and fashion is not traditional fashion student knowledge, the way some people who do videos and commentary on fashion and red carpets and fashion shows and whatnot, they have a lot more fashion, like true fashion knowledge and high fashion knowledge, like couture and whatnot. They know a lot about it and they know how to pronounce all the designer names and everything like that. I do not have that skill set. But what I do have is knowledge about styling from pageant days. I did take some classes on how presentation and how to curate your wardrobe to be appropriate for the occasion and whatever is going on, as well as my own interests in it and what I have learned myself and just from my own personal taste and observations. And throughout like life experience as well, as my body has changed at various points throughout my life, needing to, reassess how I dress and what sorts of clothes are going to look best and be best. So I have like my own personal experience, my own self-taught, information from just what I like and it being a lifelong interest. Besides that, it's really just me looking at how clothes work on the body. And I've always been distracted by that when I look at outfits and clothing. It feels so distracting to me when I see something. Maybe it's because I'm detail oriented. Maybe everybody notices. I don't really know, but I've always been quite distracted when something kind of makes somebody look a little awkward versus when something just looks amazing and makes the wearer look so much more better, so much more gorgeous in the outfit. The outfit's enhancing their look. And so that's really where I found the most helpful information when I was looking at, okay, my body's changed. How do I dress now? Or what sorts of clothes are worth investing in that are going to look good on me? That approach of looking at red carpets or celebrities or public figures and noticing what maybe didn't look as good versus what looked good and things like that was helpful to me. And so that's kind of what inspired me to take on fashion editions as a subject, because I found that really helpful in my own styling for myself. And it's interesting. I like thinking about fashion and outfits and styling, and I want everything to be beautiful. So I like that. It's an interest of mine that I enjoy talking about. And so fashion editions was just an outlet for that. And putting it in the context of how can we apply what we're seeing to our own wardrobes and how we dress ourselves and what sorts of outfits are going to work well on us makes it feel more valuable than just, oh, I'm just looking at these clothes. Otherwise, what's the point if you're not going to take something away from it, I guess? But yeah, so I hope it doesn't disappoint anybody. I don't have any formal training with fashion design as much as I would love to. I still think someday it would be really fun to have a collection, because sometimes it's like what I am looking for and what would be the perfect piece, exactly what I want to buy or have in my wardrobe, I can't find it. And so even just that would make having the opportunity to do a fashion collection worthwhile for me, because there is gaps in the market, let me tell you. It can be really hard. And especially if you're on a budget, it can be extra hard to figure out what's actually worth buying that's going to look good, because your selection's limited when you're on a budget as compared to if you're not. Already you're limited. And so you don't need to be limited even more by having trouble finding something that's going to work. And so I think it's not only just fun and interesting to think about or talk about, but it can be really, really helpful when we're styling ourselves to start noticing proportions and balance and lines and things like that in clothes, and apply that to our own shopping. I can't tell you how many times there's been items that I love and I'm like, oh, I love the way that looks so much, and I can't buy it because I know it won't work for my body, for my frame, or because I'm petite, or because I have curves, anything like that. Like, oh, it's a beautiful garment, all right, but it will not look good on me. It's not going to look like that on me. And once you come to that acceptance and realization that half the stuff you see that you love the way it looks on others is not going to look that way on you, whether it looks that way on you or not has everything to do with whether or not your proportions are the same as the lady in the catalog modeling it. And honestly, I think that this is like essential knowledge for anybody who wants to feel confident and comfortable in their clothing, because it's not like, oh, I need to look good or something like that, or, you want to make sure you look fabulous in your clothes all the time. I think of it more as like an internal thing with confidence of, I want to feel confident in what I wear, and I don't want to spend money on clothes that I don't feel excited or happy to put on. And I'm kind of like, this thing, I don't look good in this. I don't want to wear this. That's not a good feeling. It's not a confidence boost. And so for me, in my own experience, once I started looking at things more so from the angle of proportions, balance, what's the right fit for me, it totally reframed how I looked at clothing for my own self, for styling and for shopping. And it shifted to seeing something first, looking at it and being like, yes, I love this. It's beautiful. But is it the right garment for me? Is it the right proportions for me? Is it the right sort of length for me? And volume and all of those types of things will immediately tell you whether it's going to look decent on you or not, or whether it has a good chance of looking decent on you or not. And so it's always been kind of a goal with fashion editions for that information to be helpful for you as well. And a lot of you guys who like fashion editions do report back that you have found it very helpful when you're shopping for yourselves and looking at clothes from that other perspective of which clothes are the right type of clothes for me, the right types of volume and placement and lengths and rise and all of that type of stuff. Figuring that out can be so helpful. And it really helped me when I started trying to build a better wardrobe that was less teenager, more adult, to focus in on that, because there's so many beautiful clothes, but not every piece of beautiful clothing is going to work for you. And so if you just reframe that, then it doesn't feel as discouraging or as personal either. And it becomes a lot easier to just kind of filter out anything that you can tell right off the bat, that's not for me. And that's okay. When applying false lashes, you have to wait for the glue to be nearly dry, really tacky. So for this particular lash glue that I use, the Duo Lash Adhesive, when it starts to turn sort of grayish or bluish gray is when it's ready to stick on. And I always start on the outer corner, and I have it ever so slightly lifted, but from there I apply it as close to the root of my lashes as possible, really, really carefully. And by using these tweezers, I'm able to really direct the lash. But once I get it stuck to the outer corner, then I kind of pick up the inner corner and just lay it seamlessly along the root of the lash line, letting that eye shape guide the lash, anchoring it towards that inner corner. really close to the root. From there, it's just about pinching your natural lashes into the false lashes to create a seamless effect and help for better adhesion. So for applying false lashes, they're really not necessary. I only wear false lashes almost exclusively on days that I film, or if we have like a special occasion where I know like we're gonna be taking lots of pictures or something like that, I'll wear them just because they do make your eyes pop a little bit more on film, in cameras, in photographs, and in videos. So if you're not doing something where you're going to be in a video or taking pictures, I don't find false lashes to be a necessary thing to mess around with or bother with unless you really like them. I love the way false lashes look, but I don't like the hassle of putting them on, removing them carefully, cleaning them, and it takes more time. And sometimes they're not the most comfortable. Usually they are. If you buy the ones with the clear band instead of a black, thick, heavy band, it's a lot more comfortable. But anyway, for false lashes, if you do partake, I strongly recommend, as weird as it sounds, dental tweezers. These have this perfect little angle to be able to put this along your lash line, right along your lash line, and pinch to kind of incorporate your lashes into the false lashes. And you can use just the tip if you need to place it. And they're just really perfect. And you can angle it so that the tip is away from your eye so you don't poke your eyeball. And they have a nice long handle so you can keep your hand out of your line of sight and still look into the mirror perfectly. Also, I always get asked where this mirror is from anytime I do a makeup or a get ready with me video. It's just from Amazon. I'll try to find one to link for you guys, but it's super cute, isn't it? One of my secret weapons for eye makeup is I take a little bit of a highlighter. This is from Colourpop. It's the lunchmoney Super Shock Cheek highlighter. It's a pressed powder, but you can use whatever works for your skin tone or whatever highlighter you have. And I put a little bit along my brow bone right underneath my eyebrow, just on this outer part. And I just dab that in. It really helps to bring forth your brow bone and just kind of give it a little bit of a boost, and then a little bit in the inner corner if you so desire. And speaking of not doing things for your everyday makeup, I also don't wear regular foundation most of the time, and I don't apply foundation anywhere that I don't really need it. I feel like that's one of those things that social media made it seem like, you know, it's normal to apply foundation all over your entire face all the time, every single day that you're wearing makeup. I just don't agree. I feel like your skin is the priority and you should, focus as much as you can on making your skin nice so that you can wear less foundation, because no matter what, no matter how good you are at wearing makeup, at doing your makeup and applying your makeup, it looks like makeup most of the time, especially if you're wearing a lot. And so anywhere where you don't really need makeup, I feel like it's important to skip putting on makeup. But that's just my opinion. So on the average day, I just do a tiny bit of eye makeup and I only apply any sort of foundation or anything like that if I really need it, if I have like a breakout or something. Otherwise, I try to just let my skin be. It's more comfortable. But the internet has really, the makeup industry online has really made it feel like you have to do so much more makeup than you really need to for it to be considered done. When applying blush and bronzer, it's much the similar technique as eyeshadow, where you want to start by dabbing or pressing in the color where you want it most pigmented, and then from there blend outwards. Okay, so that's it. That's the finished look. I have always loved doing makeup and makeup content. Especially like eye makeup is something that I've always kind of enjoyed doing. Like I said, I have a little bit of a knack for eye makeup specifically. But I feel like I do my makeup in a way that's a lot more minimalistic, maybe, than what is popular online some of the time. So I would love to do more like tutorials or makeup content, but I feel like because I don't have a super great setup where like I don't have one of those magnifying mirrors and my camera feels kind of far away. So when I zoom in, I feel like it reduces the quality as compared to a lot of people who do really, really good makeup tutorials. So for now, when I do makeup videos, they're just going to be a little bit more chatty. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have in the comment section. But if I'm able to get a better setup with a little bit more close-up sort of a view, I feel like that would enhance the quality of makeup-focused videos. Let me know in the comment section what sorts of things you would like to see on this channel besides just fashion editions and chatty sorts of makeup videos that are a little bit more casual. What are you interested in hearing about? Do you have any questions? Do you have any topics that you'd like to have me cover or talk about or chat about? Things that don't fit in as well on my other channel that are a little bit more personal or just a little bit different types of subjects and stuff. That's what I wanted this channel to be, is to be a little bit more diverse and have a wider range of topics that's just a little bit more chatty and friendly and personal. So leave in the comments what you would like to talk about and what you would like to see come next, and I will do it. I will make the videos. Right now I'm going to get a fashion edition on the Emmys finally done for this channel, so that'll be coming out soon, and this will be up before then. So leave what you'd like to see after that. I do only film once a week or once every other week. I don't film very often because it's a whole thing. I have kids. They're home all the time. We have a lot of noise in the house, and so it's a bit of an operation to get to film. To get the house empty and or quiet for filming is a whole thing, and so that's why I don't film as often, why it takes me time to get things out. But I will start making a list of things that you guys would like to see next on this channel, and I'm happy to do it. So don't forget to subscribe, and thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate each and every one of you coming and watching today, and subscribe if you want to. Don't if you don't want to, it's fine, it's whatever. And click the like button only if you want to. I hope you have a happy day ahead, and I will see you next time. Bye!